Thanks to everyone who have subscribed. If you have not, please do. And thanks for coming out here. I really appreciate you.
And SARS, Edo wants pardon for inmates who stayed behind during the jailbreak. Wow, this is really good news. We want to say congratulations to those who decided to stay despite in spite that the gates were open, but they know that they were there for a purpose. So they didn't want to jeopardize their chances of regaining their freedom, especially those who have probably 6 months, a year, or maybe two to go. And they know that they are there on a legit ground. They committed the offense, and as a result, they were brought to the correction center. We are all privy to what happened in October, where youths came out, but the purpose was to end a police unit's brutality called the SARS unit, which was rather causing atrocities rather than protecting lives and property that they were supposed to do. Later on, it was hijacked by the government, who later sent hoodlums all over the country to begin to infiltrate into what was happening to make them be able to say, oh, it was not a peaceful demonstration. Protest is part and parcel of a democratic setting for a people to emphasize a point that the government may not be taking note of. Edo State Governor Gordon Obaseki has made the inmates, those who stayed behind, very happy indeed. Let us understand what the governor is giving them. And SARS, Edo wants pardon for inmates who stays behind during the jailbreak. The Edo State governor said a website will be launched to dedicate the information and the identity of those who escaped and their pictures being displayed. The Edo State governor is considering granting pardon to inmates that stayed behind during the jailbreak in the two medium correction centers in Benin City when NSAS project was hijacked by hoodlums. The state governor, Godwin Obaseki, also said the government will place a bounty for useful information that could lead to the rearrest of escapees. The Nigerian Correction Service (NCOS) disclosed that the jailbreak in Benin on October the 18th that 1,993 inmates escaped from a center located along Sepulveda Road and Airport Road in Benin City. He stated that 25 inmates voluntarily returned to the correction center 1 week after the jailbreak. However, receiving an 11-member committee on the rearrest of the escapees, the prison warden on Friday in Benin City said Mr. Governor Gordon Obaseki said those who stayed behind and refused to run away even when the gates were open, who stayed true and were ready to go through their sentence, will be given pardon by the government. He said the government is rather considering, after asking him to give him a list and see those who were considered for the opinion and the option of pardon. According to the governor, we will make available a huge sum of amount of money that will serve as incentives for the public to voluntarily credible and vital information that will lead to the rearrest of the escapees and inmates from the Benin correction centers. We will make available vehicles for the committee for easy movement during this season to facilitate their job. Mr. Obaseki also said the state government will place a bounty for useful information that will lead to the rearrest of every escapee. They will all be brought back to justice. The governor disclosed this on Friday when he received the members of the 11-man committee on the rearrest of escapee prisoners led by the Deputy Controller Correction DCC Osifu Joseph, who was at the government house in Benin City to brief the governor on the extent of the work so far. Governor Gordon Obaseki has promised that those who stayed in the correction facility, despite having the doors open, will be considered for pardon and will be given incentives to settle and to be able to make them regain back into society. He noted that the list of the dangerous one who escaped, their offense has been tendered unforgivable because time of pardon was granted, given a public announcement for everyone who escaped to come back willingly. Only a very few, more than 0.1%, returned. 1,993 are still nowhere to be found. We will not rest until every inmate who ran away from the Benin correction centers are all brought back to the jail. The governor has promised. So, my people, this is what Governor Obaseki is doing to encourage and to be able to put a position that will be able to help people in future and in time to come, saying everyone and every one of them who had stayed back where there was jailbreak. They stayed back irrespective that the prison doors were open. They stayed back. They rather stayed and did not run away. They will all be given pardon. Governor Gordon Obaseki has announced that they will all be given, not just given pardon, but they will be considered to have some kind of incentives that will help them settle and integrate into life again. They've been in prison for some time now, and most of them don't have property or anything or any form of job. He said these ones will be given one thing or the other to be able to assist them, to go through this transition period. However, those who ran away from the correction centers, those who are making the government to go through a problem right now, trying to bring them back, will not be considered. And they've set up a committee to ensure that everyone who ran away from the correction centers are all brought back to justice. If you know that you were supposed to be in prison, you committed an offense, why run away? I know it's very tempting seeing the prison door open. However, if they are caught, they will all go through what we call a fresh stage of sentence. They will all be sentenced afresh, and that is even more grievous. So it would have been better if they had stayed, and be considered for better opportunity and what have you. Anyway, my people, Governor Gordon Obaseki has pledged that those who stayed behind will not only be considered for pardon, but will also be assisted to settle down and to be able to integrate into society so that they can also give their contribution to society. If you know anybody who has run, they said they put in a big fine that will help the people to be able to give information, to be able to assist them to rearrest those people. Just to keep you informed of all that is going on, leave us a comment. God bless you. Bye for now.